Airtable for some time has been showcasing some really cool custom interfaces. And just recently, they have released a public beta that lets anyone, well, anyone with coding knowledge, to design their own interfaces. In this video, I'll show you a QR code scanning interface that we have built for one of our clients. And if you stick around until the end, I'll show you how you can copy this base together with that QR code scanning interface and use it for your own projects. Hi, this is Greg from Business Automated, and on this channel we help you save time and money with useful solutions to automate your business. If you have not already, consider subscribing. That helps us produce more useful videos for you. So let's talk about the use case and how is this interface here set up. We have here a simple base that contains inventory with some basic tables such as stock movement, purchase orders, and the line items for the purchase orders, vendors, and so on. Now on the parts table, you can see that we have different individual parts with numbers, with the SKU numbers for each of those specific parts. And you can see that here we also have a QR code that correspond to that specific part. So this is a simple QR code that doesn't contain a URL, like sometimes you might have QR codes with URL. This contains just the SKU number over here. So technically you could also have a barcode over here. So this could be also used, for example, with barcodes. If you would have inventory items that have barcodes and corresponding numbers, we could use this interface as well for scanning barcodes, regular barcodes. So let's see how this is set up over here. So let's talk about adding a custom extension into your interfaces. So inside of the interface designer, you could do it in two ways. So you could go to the choose layout and you could add a custom extension here, which would create a full page custom extension. Or you could alternatively create a dashboard view. So you can select, for example, a dashboard view. And then on the dashboard view, which allows you to have multiple types of smaller interfaces here, you could add a custom extension here. So once you, instead of selecting list, gallery, and Kanban, once you click on the custom, this is where you could add an extension from the list of extensions that you have published already. For extensions to be visible here, you need to install the Block SDK and you need to write that extension in code and publish it into your Builder Hub. And then you'll be able to select it here. We'll not be going through details. We'll just show you the use case here. So you can see I have just added that extension over here. So now you can see this block here is additional extension. I have added it twice. So you can see that's the same thing that I have added on the top. You can configure this extension over here. So you can, for example, decide whether this is talking to the table inventory. You can connect it to a different table. So you can connect it to like the location, warehouse locations. This would be more relevant, like depending where are items that you are looking for with the QR code located. So now there is a couple of additional configuration elements over here. So you can change the size of this block over here. So you can have it medium, you can have it small. And here you need to configure a couple of fields that we use within the extension. So the first one is the lookup field. So the value that is being recognized from the code is being used to look up a record inside of this table using this column. So you could, for example, instead of using the part number, use different part name or different serial number and so on. And it would be looking up within that field to find that record of that specific article. And here we have two other fields that we are displaying. We are displaying here a field which is called quantity on hand, and we are displaying here selling price. So this is where you would select values that are going to be displayed in those fields. So for example, here selling price. You can see that I have this configured over here, right? So we have the lookup field, the part number, and then quantity on hand and selling price. Another element is that once you have the custom element, you can also enable click into record details. So you can enable opening of existing layouts. So you can see, for example, here we have linked to that custom extension, not custom, but a standard layout for details of a record and so on. So that makes it easy to interconnect custom layouts with your existing layout for other parts of your Airtable. Okay, so now once we have this set up over here, let's see how this looks in practice. All right, so I am now recording this from my iPad, and you can see that I have opened the interface from Safari browser. And while this works, you can see that it's actually asking me here to switch into Airtable app. And let's do that. And you'll see that surprisingly, this works very well. Interfaces used to be problematic on mobile devices, but you can see right now that it works pretty nice within the app. So let's start with the first element. You can see that on my interface, it says request camera permission. So I will just allow it to use the camera. And I can use the front camera or I can use the back camera. Because I'm using this on my iPad, I'll be using the back camera. So I will start scanning for the first code. You can see that I can also select it from the image if I will be having some images of QR codes on my iPad. But in this case, I will just scan one of the QR codes that I have over here. So you can see this is just a QR code that I have open on my screen. And you can see that it has found this specific QR code. I can stop scanning now. And then I can open details of this specific QR. Okay, so this is the part called spark plug. Okay, that's a spark plug. I can adjust information over here. I can add another picture if I would like to take it. And I can, for example, now add a quantity for an order. So let's say we would like to have 2 pieces. And we can add this to a PO or we cannot add it. So you can see that this is very usable on a mobile device. Right, so now I can close it here and I can, for example, scan another item. So you can see that I'm literally have my Airtable open in front of me on the screen and I will pick another item. You can see that this is scanning that is continuous. So now this is item 005. So now we have quantity on hand for item 005. I can pick another item. You can see that this is basically ongoing continuous scanning. So whenever you have new QR code showing up, now it's 008. So you could basically scan ongoing different items, or you could also scan QR codes. Here I have a Wikipedia page, and for example here, this is a regular barcode, the one that you would find inside of a supermarket. You can see that, if I have a different example and so on, so I can try scanning a different example. Now we have a different one. Now let's come back to this. So you can see that this is continuously scanning those items. And once you have this item that you have not found over here, what we have within our extension, we can, for example, I will turn off scanning. We can add this item. So now I have pressed add and you can see I have just added new item to our inventory. Once I open details, I can do some additional configuration. I can name it over here. Right, so you can see that this works pretty well on iPad, which is amazing. We also have cases when we used Airtable interfaces on Android devices, Android tablets, and it's a great way of operating this inside of a factory. So let's get back to desktop now. And now we are back on the desktop. And obviously this is something that probably you would not be using on your desktop computer, but you can see that whatever information would be added from the tablets, those informations are added here. So you can see we have created a new inventory item. And also whatever the inventory quantities were added, for example, that we need to order, we can also use on other interfaces and, for example, add them to a PO and process them further. So all in all, this is a fantastic tool to be able to do custom interfaces like this. This is still in early beta, so like I cannot share you exactly this thing. Like there is no option to distribute this in any open way, but I found a trick that if you copy my base over here, then actually the moment when you copy it, it will be copied together with this tool over here. So it will stay there. Like you cannot add it to your own base, but if you go to the link in the description of the video, open this shared link and then copy base, then you would end up with a copy of this on your interface. Probably this is not working the way Airtable intended, so I don't know whether those interfaces will stay there or whether they'll find a better way, but also you can reach out to us and we'll make a custom interface for you that will fit exactly your base. We can install this or a similar version on your specific project. So let us know if that's something that would be useful for you. And anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video and have a fantastic day. Bye.